Hi and welcome to turn 3 of GMT's Field of Fire 2 Peleliu campaign mission 1 initial assault by Ben Hull. We landed the first wave on the beach last turn, and the second wave is struggling through the surf, and third wave about to come in. So we'll kick it off with the action deck draw for the battalion HQ, and we do have an HQ event. You can see the little radio symbol there with HQ on it, so we will draw a randomizer on the 10 and see what we get. We get a 2, so let's look that up. Right, looking at the chart here, so these are per campaign. So we're looking at mission 1 here, which is over here, and we rolled a 2 just there, and so we've got Semper Fi Mac. Any 2 to 4 LAT, that's limited action teams, fire teams, paralysed or litter, on the same card, pinned or not, may reform into a squad if a squad is available to reform. Maybe reformed into a squad. Well, we've still got squads on which are damaged, but there's no reform of squad. I'll have to check what it really defines as reform here. Yeah, reading it, it's about reforming a squad or reconstituting. Actually, the rules tend to talk about reconstitute actually when you're doing a command to do that. But it says it needs a squad available to reform, so I think it had to be a squad that's off the board and has been broken down completely, which we don't have. So it's a very nice battalion intervention, but I don't think it's useful at the moment. So we'll just crack on. So as usual, back to the command phase and the CO's command pull. And we have a 4, and +1 of course for veteran is 5. So we'll switch him around onto the 7 mark, and we'll switch all of these around as well as available. And again, we've not got any HQs on the board, although we're just about to with some of the staff. The gunnery sergeants and the XO, so they're about to appear in the third wave. So with our commands here, MG platoon is almost at maximum, first platoon is at maximum, second, third and mortar are at maximum. We've really only got these guys to go, so we will activate these 3 for the 3 commands. The XO, first sergeant and the gunnery sergeant. Try and get them up the command track. As once we actually land and we need to do something, we'll be running through these commands quite a lot. So XO first, let's see the activation. That's a 3 +1 for veteran, it's 4, and he'll store that. He's finished. For the first sergeant, 4 +1 is a 5, so he goes to 7. And gunnery sergeant, oh, not a good card. We have a 1 +1 is 2, so we'll switch him around and he'll sit there. Not activating anything else. On the initiative segment, everybody's at maximum with the exception of the MG platoon, so we will draw for it, and it's the small number. It's a 2 +1 is 3, so it will be able to get to there. So that's the activations for the HQs. Remember, they're just not on the board yet, but they are at maximum, which is great. on the max save, with the exception of the CO, of course, and the gunnery sergeant. Oh, and the first sergeant can get up to the top as well, as can the XO. So yeah, except for the staff, everybody's at maximum. Right, there's general impulse, which is useful now because the troops on the ground, and there are some on the beach, some of them suffering quite a lot. We have a general impulse draw, which is a 3 unmodified. So we have 3 commands to assign to any of the troops that are available. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so we're looking at the troops here which are disembarked from the LVTs. We have a paralysed 2-step squad, litter team and 2-step squad, I believe, here. We have the MG teams here which have arrived unscathed, and here again we have a litter team and a 2-step squad, which I think this guy is a 3-step squad here, yes. So what can we do here? So we can attempt to become unpinned with these units. So pinned is a status, it's like a limited action status, but it's a marker rather than a state of the unit, as in a team type. And we're restricted about exactly what they can do. So what they could do is move to an adjacent card, as long as it's in the staging area, either off the bottom of the board, or it's friendly occupied with no VOF, so they could withdraw effectively. They can attempt to seek cover. They can move to or from a cover. So when you attempt to seek cover, or you find cover and you move to it, you will be exposed. So it's temporarily worse for you. So certainly for these guys who are under fire, it's probably not a good idea. They could attempt to remove the pin marker, but the pin marker is giving them a +1. So I'm kind of reluctant for them to do anything really. Here, likewise, we have +1s for the pin marker, and we've got some, those will be disappearing at the start of the combat phase. So these guys becoming unpinned is probably a good idea. And finally we have the MGs here. Now I'm kind of leaning on one of these MG teams to actually try and spot that bunker. So spotting is a draw attempt. So I think from our 3 orders, 3 commands we have from the little number there, certainly one will be on that MG, the first, second MG, to spot this bunker here. Right, yeah, so this first, second MG, all the first teams in each of the squads, I suppose, is a collection of 2 teams, is veteran. So we use him, and we need to do an action deck draw. And the base number of cards you pick out is going to be 2. And we are looking for the symbol here, there, a spotting symbol on the card. Now there are modifiers to the number of cards, the main one being whether you're veteran, line or green. So line, there's no modifier, veteran gets an extra card, green gets 1 less. You always get 1 card to draw, no matter how bad it gets. So we would be on 2 cards plus 1 for veteran is 3 cards. However, we have some other modifiers here. So the target is undercover, so that's a -1 card down to 2. It's line, so there's no effect there. It's not on the same card and it's not exposed. The target's card has 3 + 3 or more cover value. Now that's the card, not the bunker itself. It's only got a +1, so that's not applicable. It has a volume of fire of A, because it's automatic weapons from the heavy machine gun. So as you can see here, just pointed out, just down at the bottom of the card, we got a VOF of A, that's a +1. So I believe we're back to 3, because the undercover is cancelled out with the VOF of A. So we have 2 +1 for veteran, 3 cards to turn. So we turn these cards over, and I think I'll stick to that suspense mechanism here by turning them over in front of the camera. So we are looking for that crosshair symbol, and let's see what we get. That's a grenade symbol, so no. That's a fire for effect symbol, so no. And finally, that's an infiltration symbol, so no, he didn't manage to do that. I think with the second, we will get the other team to try as well. So that is 2. You don't get the +1 for the veteran because it's a line quality unit, and the other modifiers are the same, so it'll be just 2 cards. So let's try that. Again, looking for that same symbol, infiltrate, and there we go. There's the crosshair, so we have spotted the bunker. Now, the fact that we've spotted it means everybody spotted it on our side. It's not selective per unit. So now everything that could fire at it will fire at it. So the 2 cards that can fire at it at the moment would be the machine gunners here and these guys who are pinned here. So we put a volume of fire marker onto the card from each of the units. The other thing is you don't get a choice about this. Everybody fires. If they can see the enemy, they will start firing. So we will put a automatic weapons from here and an all pinned VOF from here, plus PDFs from both of these cards. Because we'll have 2 cards firing, there will also be a crossfire, which is an extra VOF -1 because it's coming from 2 different directions. So I'll just put those counters out now. Right, so I've placed those counters. We have the primary direction of fire here, mutual primary direction of fire between these 2 cards, and up here now we have an all pinned and automatic weapons, and a crossfire marker here. Now normally I wouldn't bother putting the all pinned, but I'll just do it for the moment just for completeness sake. It doesn't count. You always pick the best or worst which side's firing, a VOF modifier as being the base modifier, and carry on from there. You ignore all the other VOF markers with the exception of grenades, and also grenade misses and things like crossfires and concentrate fire markers as well. So currently we're on a -2 fire into the bunker, but the bunker's got a massive positive modifier, so I'm not holding out a huge amount of hope here. But that's good. Once something's spotted, and I should actually remove that counter as well. So now the bunker is showing. Once it's spotted, it's spotted. That's it. It doesn't hide itself again unless there's something special going on. It will be a spotted unit. So we've got our third and final impulse, and I think what we will do is we will attempt to rally this unit. Actually, is that a lot of point? At the end of the turn, there will be no fire on those cards, so the pinned markers will be removed. So there's no point in particularly removing them now. I don't think we'll use that last order. Possibly ordering the veteran machine gunner here to seek cover. I think that's probably a good idea. So on the beach here we have 1 cover possible and a 2 card draw. Again, +1 for veteran here. So we get 3 cards to find the word cover on the card. So let's get the 3 Cards ready, and go for the big reveal. Let's zoom out here, and we have a rally, a blank, and a rally. So no, wasn't able to find cover. Never mind. Right, so that's our 3 orders, and that's our command phase done. So on to the Japanese enemy check segment, activity check segment. First thing is to check their higher command. So looking for that HQ symbol again, we see it's blank, so nothing from their higher HQ. Now we resolve enemies on the board for what are they going to do. We have one, which is the heavy machine gun team in the bunker, plugging away at this card. So let's just go through what he is going to do. Okay, so we have this chart here. Trying to get it all in. The enemy defensive activity hierarchy. So this is how you decide what the enemy is going to do. So we have 3, and I'll zoom into the top here so you can see that we have a set of defensive tactics: delay, hasty, or deliberate. These are set by the particular scenario, and as it's a beach landing defense, of course, the tactic is deliberate. Therefore, we're looking at this column here. We then start and look at each of the green lines here, titles, and see if they apply. Start from the top and keep going down. So for here, on the same card as a US unit, we're not. On the same card as a US unit, not again. Run down here. The one that's applicable here is, the first one it is under fire from a different direction than its own PDF. So if I can get that there. So that column in this area means that this is the table we're using here. So we need to do a randomized draw of 4. A 1 would be no action, so nothing special other than plugging away and firing. 2 would be a grenade attack or concentrate fire, if that would be useful. And 3 or 4s would shift to the direction of incoming fire. So that would shift across to the machine guns. So we need to roll that 4 randomizer. So let's see what we get. And on the 4 we get a 1. So there's no action. It does nothing other than plug away at the beach card in front of it. And that's the enemy check sequence completed. That's the only enemy unit on the board that we can see at the moment. So that's all done. We then go to the retreat or capture phase. So this is where our litter teams or our paralysed teams can move in a kind of involuntary way, in a fixed way. Now we have litter teams and paralysed teams here. However, they don't do anything if they are pinned. So therefore they're just going to sit where they are, being pinned, and not want to do anything at all. There's nothing on the opposition side, so there's nothing for that phase to do. And we end up at the vehicle aircraft phase, and that's when our LVTs will start moving. So here we are in the vehicle phase. So this is our LVTs moving. Now these empty LVTs will be moving back. They haven't got any troops on them, and the LVTs are kind of extra to the company. So there's not a big deal about what they're doing. However, we shall roll and draw for them to just illustrate the AT combat a bit more. So when we move this LVT here, it is leaving a card with the incoming coming in, so therefore it will be fired at, and it's an AT combat. As we calculated before, there was no modified change because of the weakness of the armour of -1. The Well, actually, thinking about it, it is different. There is no +1 like there was in the surf. So there's a -1 for the armor, a +1 for the card terrain, and a +1 for movement. Let me just check on this. Yeah, it is exactly the same. So we have the -1 on the marker. We have a -1 for the LVT's armor, so that's -2. +1 for the card, and +1 for the target moving. So effectively that +1 counts like that +1 did in the surf zone. So we're on a 0, and let's see what the card says. The card gives us a 7, which means it's a miss, and this chap goes on his merry way back down onto this card, where of course he will receive fire at the end of the turn, and I think I'll just do it now, so I won't forget. Actually no, I will do it in order, just so things are done at the correct time. We'll attempt to move this guy as well, and he will have a similar roll against them as a 0 modifier. We have a 5. So the 5 is a pinned marker, and the pin marker, I think I said it was a little bit wrong last turn. So what a pin marker means is that everybody's ducking, everything's buttoned up. So the unit can keep moving next turn, but it will it has an extra -1 modifier for fire coming in. So this does get to move onto this card, and it's moved fired. The third is an 80. The third LVT is an 81. So 1 is knocked out. So the knocked out means that it is removed and replaced by a wreck. Now that is actually quite useful. So that is some cover, there being a wreck there. Also, of course, the LVT has a crew, which we then represent with a fire team, which we can put here. And that suffers an automatic hit for the knocked out status of the vehicle. So we will draw that card, see what happens to it. It's automatically line, and I'm afraid on line it's a C. So that's a casualty. So that fire team is replaced with a casualty. So not good there. Finally, this one here is leaving automatic weapons fire. So that is, if we look at the counter closely, as long as it zooms in, yeah, we actually have a +2 on the anti-tank there. So we start with a +2. We have a -1 for the armor, +1 for moving, and +1 for the defense. So we come out with a +2, +3, +4, +3. So it's on +3. So we add 3 to the number that comes up on the card to see the result. We have a 2, which becomes a 5, and a 5 is pinned. So we will move that guy into there, moved fired with a pinned marker. And we've done all of the LVTs on this row. The LVTs on this row, so this with passengers in, is going to move up here. Again, it's going to be attacked by that artillery. Again, 0 modifier, and we'll see what we get. We get an 8 over 9, brilliant, complete miss. So this whole stack of units, whoops, this whole stack of units. So that's the first platoon, it's a veteran, with smoke and rifle grenades, will end up disembarked here. The LVT will be moved, fired, and these guys will be exposed, of course, as they've got out. Now, not to worry about this incoming, because that's going to disappear before the combat phase anyway. So that's great. We've managed to get these guys forward. These guys here, there is no fire here, so it will move into here, but of course it will get hit with that incoming as it ends up there. I'm not doing very well with these stacks. It's not unusual, to be honest. And we have moved fired. Great. Here we have a pinned unit, but it can still move, and it will move onto here, and we will remove the pin as it's not under fire. Yeah, that's at the end of the phase, but I will do that now. Just as a reminder, because we haven't got a VOF marker to deal with. And here we have these guys which are leaving this this card with that that VOF incoming. So again, a 0 roll to check. 0 roll, we get a 4. Now a 4 is a pinned result again. I'm actually feeling quite lucky about this. We've only lost one LVT, and it was empty at the time. So that's quite good. And it will disembark. Which will put our chaps here arriving in a little bit of dire straits, as they're going to walk out of the LVT straight into the heavy machine gun fire. Not the greatest thing. Right, we then move the remaining new LVTs coming on, and these are the guys, I think, where we're looking at. Yeah, it's the third wave, so not quite the platoon HQs yet, but we do have some HQs here. And we have moved all of these, and at the end of the phase we would remove the pin here, which we've already done. Now any of the vehicles with a VOF marker would need to be attacked now. So again, let's start here. There's no need in randomizing this, really. One has no effect on the other. And here we have an LVT which is going to be fired at from here, because that's not removed yet. It's not quite removed off the board, and that's a 0 again. And we have a 5, which is a pinned result. Getting a lot of these pinned results, it's really very gratifying, actually. Here, oh, did we need to we needed to actually unload these passengers with an exposed marker, of course. And yeah, so this is an empty LVT. We fired at now, which is on a 0, and we have a reshuffle, so I'll just do that. Right, we're ready to go. What I've also done is remove the passengers from that LVT as well, but we were checking on this one on a 0. On 0 we have a 4, which is again pinned. Bit of a pattern here, but pinned is fine. I'm quite happy with that. Right, across here we have the LVT being attacked by the automatic weapons VOF. So the pinned is actually a -1 for vehicles. So we have -1, -2 for its armor, -3 for pinned, +1 for the card. So that's a -2, which is quite a thing there. Oh, sorry, we should start at a +2, not the -1. I was making a mistake. So +2, +3, +2 for pinned, +1 for the armor. So it's a +1. Thought that was, we have a 0 here, so it's succumbed. That is actually the worst result. No, it's not. It's still knocked out. You had a +1 to a 1. That's a knocked out as the one before. So we remove this LVT and we replace it with a wreck. Another conveniently positioned wreck for our troops to dive into. Oh, hang on, that was the wrong LVT, wasn't it? It was the LVT over with the automatic weapons. So I apologise for that. It's this guy here, which is now a wreck. And we will see what happens to the crew as it's hit. We do a fire hit effect for it online, and it becomes a paralysed team on a P. So we can place that. And of course that's pinned as well. So generally we put that under the pinned marker where infantry are for the turn. And we'll keep that. I can stack properly. There, that's great. And take that fire team off. And we have the wreck. Good. Now, we still haven't done this row. So these two LVTs will take a hammering from the artillery here. So the populated one on a 0 becomes a 5, which is a pinned result. And let's place that. And the empty one, again on a 0, is a 1. So 1 is knocked out. So that is replaced with a wreck. And again, do a hit effect for the crew online, which is a C, and it's a casualty. So we will place a casualty here. And finally here we have a pinned LVT and a populated one. We'll do the populated one first. Let's move this guy down here, I think. Thing to do. Let's do the populated one first on a 0. We get a 3. Now that isn't good. I believe that is a retreat. Yes, that's a retreat result. What that means is that LVT disappears. You don't lose the troops. It's not hit, but it's effectively out of the game. So as you can see, HQs having that can be quite a problem. And we don't get no wrecks or anything like that. It just gets removed. Sorry, again I'm taking the wrong units from the wrong stack, and oops, it actually was this stack here. Just checking what that is. Zoom down here. it was just a squad. So, oh, and a bazooka assault team. Well, oh dear, never mind. What can you do? We have a pinned unit here. That gets the extra -1 for being pinned. So we'll take that unit. And we get an AT of 7. So it's a -1 is a 6, which is a miss. So this guy is fine. And at the end of the phase, any pinned units which no longer have a VOF get it removed. So this pin will go. The LVT will unbutton. We have, well, that's it for the LVTs. So we've done the vehicle phase. Bit of carnage there, so we've lost 1, 2, 3, 3 LVTs, and 1 has run away. So 4 effectively, and one of the runaway actually had a squad in it, so we've lost that squad for the mission. It's a casualty, it's just not available anymore. So once we've done that, we then go on to the combat phase. So the first thing we do in a combat phase is remove any outstanding incoming markers. Quite welcome. And this guy stays, of course, as does the fire up on the bunker. We then evaluate potential contact markers, and we have quite a few here. We have the C's here to check, and that's it, actually, just these C's. All these A's have been removed. So just the 4 here. Each of the 4 does have a unit on them, so therefore we should check. We have only 1 VOF marker at the moment, so we are back to contact. But these are potential contact C, so they're the lowest probability ones. And so if we look at our little chart here, for a C, for contact, it's only 3 cards. Now, seeing as I've done a hell of a lot of 7-card pulls where nothing turns up, it'll probably be a lot of contacts now. But let's see, we have 4 to check, so we do a randomizer for which one to check first. And on the 4, we have number 4, so which will be this guy. And we check whether there is any potential contact, and it's 3 cards. And the big reveal is a reshuffle. So I'll just do that reshuffle. Right, having done the reshuffle, we get our 3 cards to see if the contact turns up. We have a blank, and a blank. So that marker is removed, and we'll check for the next. Which one do we check? We'll look on the 3 column on the column on the randomizer. Is number 3. So let's pull 3 cards for the 3rd potential contact, and we have a blank, a cover, and a contact. So we do have a contact here. We check on the same table as we did before, and we do a 10 randomizer. The randomizer is a 2, and that will be another incoming, and that will be the artillery incoming, so the stronger one, which I'll use the normal incoming marker for, and remove that potential contact marker. So 1 and 2 left. We do number 1 first, this one here, and we are now engaged, of course, because we have 2 VOF markers. And just for audio, let's check how many we should pick. So let's get the focus on C, engaged is now only 2 cards. So let's pick 2 cards for this terrain card here. We have a rally and we have a cover, so nothing turns up. So as you see, these potential contact letters A, B and C have a big difference, and also the actual status of the game, how many troops are around, affects it quite markedly. We have one left which we draw 2 cards for, and let's have a look. And we have a contact, and no, so 1 contact there. Check on the 10 column for the randomizer is another 2, I believe. Yep. That means we get another incoming marker here, just to sit nicely on top of these LVTs. So that's all the potential contact markers actually used in the surf zone. So nothing else will be triggered from here, and nothing else will be triggered here. We only have potential contact markers on the last 2 sections of the card. Right, so that's the potential contacts. Now we resolve the combat. So combat is simultaneous, but we'll take them one at a time. So we have an automatic weapons fire here, and then we have automatic weapons fire with a crossfire here on the bunker. The Japanese unit is probably the simplest one, so we'll do that first. So looking at here, we have -1 for the automatic weapons, -1 for crossfire, that's -2. We have +1 for the card, so that's -1 now, and then we have the great big +3 for the bunker. So that comes out as a +2 on the chart. So we look at the to hit table on the next card, and a +2. Wow, it's actually a hit. Good heavens, look at that. That's a very good shot by those machine gunners. Very impressed. And then we do a check on the hit effect. All the Japanese are line. Now, one thing with this scenario and with the campaign in Peleliu is that the Japanese are fanatic, so therefore they are never paralysed. If they get a paralysed result, it's actually a casualty, and if they have a litter team, it's actually a fire team. So they actually only get half the results. So let's see what the hit effect is on the HMG in the bunker. Online we have PC. So a P, I believe, is a casualty. Yes, that's it. So we have actually got him. We remove the HMG counter and we put on a Japanese casualty in the dunes. Well, okay, I thought the turn wasn't that brilliant, but actually that's pretty good. And shows up the value of the spotting attempts we made with the general initiative here. This attack still goes ahead, and we'll attack everything on this card. So each unit gets attacked separately. So if we're looking here at the litter team, the paralysed team, the squad here, we will do those first. So the paralysed team has a -1 for automatic weapons fire, but +2 for pinned and the terrain. So that's on a +1. A +1 remains a pin, so that is still pinned. Note that if you get no result, as in a miss, if the unit is pinned, it then becomes unpinned itself. Litter team on a +1. A +1 is still a pin. Although these are not that critical at the moment. The big draw is really for this squad on a +1 again. That's actually a hit. Oh dear. So the second squad, third is a line unit, and we hit with an A. So an A is an assault team. What this means is that HQ actually does break, that platoon does break down into a fire team and an assault team. So assault teams are interesting because they're actually an automatic weapons fire team, but only in point blank range, AMP, which means they only fire within the card. I think we will give the smoke to the assault team, but we have lost that squad. That squad has now fallen apart completely. Essentially, this team has broken away and want to deal with the bunker, it seems. However, the machine gunners have done that for us. These units, however, because they were hit, are again pinned. So everybody, assault team, this team, paralysed team, and fire team, all different type, are there, and they're all pinned. And these troops here, we have just, I believe, the squad, so it's one draw. However, they are on a -1 for automatic weapons, -2 for explosives, -3, +1 for the card is -2. It's not a good table to be on, but let's see. A -2 is a hit. And the first squad of the third platoon is veteran, so we look on the veteran part of the hit effect, and we get a CF. That means a casualty and a fire team splits off. Not great. Okay, so we have that organised. We have the two-step squad now. We have a fire team and the casualty. That's got 2 dots on it now. That's been replaced with a 2-dot counter. And of course, these are all pinned as well. Now, for the sake of hoping things won't fall down as a big stack, I am going to get these guys pinned as well, but not join them together into one big stack. And that's that attack. Now, at that point, the automatic weapons is lifted. However, the firing from here still goes on. And with the machine guns here from the second section, the 2 teams in the second section, they will have used up an ammunition this turn, which we can mark on our mission log, and they will continue to use ammunition unless we tell them to stop firing, because they don't know that these guys are no longer there, or they don't really care. They're just firing because they should be firing at them. Right, so that's resolved that combat. So we just need a cleanup here where we removed exposed markers and the moved markers for the LVTs, which we can do, and any pinned markers. Oh no, we don't move the pin markers from the LVTs, just the moved fire markers. There's an exposed marker to be removed there, and that's moved fire marker there. These units were not fired upon, so therefore that pin marker should come off, as should these as well. Though that will stay on the LVT. I think that's almost it. So actually quite a successful turn here. So we got rid of the heavy machine gun in the bunker, which is great. We can then move in to clear that out and take possession of that card. So all in all, a pretty good turn. And we now have RHQs to come on, and again to land on the beach we've got no potential contact markers, so we should be okay. These will have an effect onto whatever's coming in on those two surf zones, but it can't be helped. We'll just have to cross our fingers as we move those units, those final LVTs onto the board. Anyway, that's the turn for us, and we shall have a look at what turn turn 4 will do for us. So thanks again for checking in. Hoping you're enjoying the replay, and I'll see you for turn 4 a bit later. Thanks for watching.